Because I loved Nina. When she casually mentioned wanting to be a singer, I used all my means and resources to support her, expecting nothing in return. But when she actually became a top star in the music scene, she believed her achievements were solely due to her own abilities, unrelated to me. She coldly left me, rekindling things with her campus crush. When I blinked again, I found myself back on the day before I chose to promote her. This time, I picked another beautiful woman over Nina. Nina went crazy, eyes red with fury, saying, "Howard, you can't just leave me." Nina announced to the world her wedding date with David, adding, "After everything, it's still you." As the top diva, a national goddess, her and David's news exploded online in less than 5 minutes. The whole platform was pushing it, with comments mixed between congratulations and heartbreak. Congrats. Congrats. We've all known Nina has liked someone for a long time. Didn't expect it was David. They are perfect for each other, some said. And others, Nina is so loyal. So was everything with Howard fake? Watching the online chatter, I slowly dialed Nina's number. After she hung up on me 7 times, she finally answered, her voice as cold as ice. "Howard, I'm about to get married. Stop pestering me. I'm not a clingy vine plant, and you always arrogantly try to plan my life. Only David respects me and gives me space. Everything I have today is thanks to my efforts. I've had enough of your psychological games." She hung up before I could say a word. Today was both my birthday and the day I got the terminal cancer notice. Outside, the wind was gentle, the sky just as serene as the day I first met Nina. She was a beautiful girl holding a bunch of books, meeting my eyes calmly and coldly, and from then on I was like a moth drawn to a flame, only to end up burned and despised. Who would choose to be an obsessive admirer if not for love? But after everything, I was left with nothing. All my efforts seemed like psychological manipulation to her. In agony both mentally and physically, my eyes stayed glued to the gray screen of my phone until I died, it never lighting up. Blinking again, I heard my assistant's voice. "Howard, here are the new recruits. Whom do you like?" I snapped back, looking around at the familiar minimalist design of my meeting room I used to know. Several young girls, pure and pretty, stood in front of me. Nina was among them. Even standing at the edge, she was the most striking one there. Her clothes and shoes were worn, not as flashy as the others, but it didn't hide her stunning beauty. She was like a swan born in the mud, deserving to be plucked from the mire. Though I thought my memories were long faded, they suddenly seemed fresh. I remembered everything that was about to happen. I realized I was back, reborn to the day I could choose to support Nina. Back then, I fell for her at first sight, knowing she needed money, so I had her sign with my entertainment company and put every resource behind her, asking for nothing in return. I later learned it was all her plan to use me as a stepping stone. Once she became successful, she complained that I was too controlling, disrespecting her independence, and frequently argued with me over small issues. I worked tirelessly to appease her, only to barely gain her forgiveness after securing a few resources. Later, she thrived in the entertainment world, bored of my endless devotion, believing her success was achieved on her own, and that I was limiting her spirit. During my illness, she treated me with silence, betrayed me with my rival David, and leaked my company's secrets, causing heavy losses. I flipped through the resumes, my eyes stopping on Nina's photo. At 18, she was fresh-faced, defiant, and even more beautiful in person. She had been the school beauty, excelling in academics while juggling 5 jobs, topping her class, and winning numerous regional contests. Yet now I felt nothing. The desire to give her everything vanished when I died. Seeing me focus on Nina's info, my assistant, perceptive as ever, eagerly suggested, "Howard, Nina's really promising if you choose her." Nina pursed her lips, her eyes shining as she looked at me, seemingly confident and certain I'd pick her. Young, pretty, clean, seductive, but almost no man could resist Nina's demanding gaze. In the next second, I placed Nina's resume aside and casually picked another. "I'll take her," I said. Nina stared at me, eyelashes trembling like a butterfly betrayed. If Nina wanted freedom, she could have it. My entertainment company was one of the top in the nation. When I knew she needed money, I even signed an A-class contract with her, giving her the best terms despite her being a newcomer. If she didn't need it, I'd take it all back and see how far her abilities would really take her. Others will have a chance. Gradually, the company won't just support one person. Once you show your value, the opportunity to rise will come on its own. A girl burst into a confident smile, full of ambition. Howard picked me. Are you sure there's no chance for anyone else? The voice belonged to Lucy, the girl I had just chosen. Her profile was the most promising among them. She had a beautiful face and figure, though barely any makeup, dressing in simple black, her hair casually tied. Even so, she was strikingly charming and elegant. Here's to a great partnership, I said, shaking hands with Lucy. At that moment, Nina's beautiful, tender face looked lost, fragile, and close to tears. So sad to see. She clutched the hem of her washed-out dress tightly. Her pretty knuckles were a bit blue, eyes slightly red, like a pitiful little droopy-eared bunny, whispering, I knew it. Men are all liars. I can only rely on myself. People nearby started giving me these subtle looks. After all, they kind of knew about my thing for Nina. Yet I felt nothing. You must be joking. The company treats everyone equally. Talented people naturally stand out. I'm just here to see what you can do. But after signing with us, you're too publicly chummy with other entertainment companies. Please remember our artist code. Nina shot me a glare, her beautiful eyes displaying endless grievance. They approached me, but I didn't go. It was just a meal, Howard. Are you choosing someone else because of this? I'm so disappointed in you. No fame, no fortune. Why would they pay a hefty fine to get you? I interlaced my fingers, laying out the cold facts. They just want leverage on me, thinking we have a special relationship. Howard, how could you think like that? I won't forgive you. Nina turned away, like a fluttering butterfly, but slowed down, maybe waiting for me to chase after her. But when I didn't move, she stiffened and then sprinted off. Howard, should we? My assistant asked. No need to look for her, I replied coolly. She'll come back once she calms down. If not, pursue her for breach of contract. Everyone else stayed silent, except for Lucy, who couldn't hold back and laughed. She noticed my gaze, nodded slightly, exuding that lazy charm. Lucy teased, Howard, you're so easygoing. If I ever talked to my old boss like that, I'd be packing my bags. I smiled back. It's not that I don't want Nina gone, but there's always someone willing to step in. After deciding to back Lucy, her schedule was packed. Lucy was so grateful for the chance. She even found time to write 2 songs and added them to the company library. These 2 songs were yours? I pointed at the potential future hits that made Nina famous everywhere. Lucy, still dozy from the couch, sat up immediately. Sorry, Howard. They were rushed. I'll do better next time. In a past life, after I promoted Nina, I shelled out money to get rid of any similar or younger talent. Looking at Lucy's fresh, youthful face, I couldn't believe I let such talent slip. I was so much of a pushover before and got nowhere from it. I mean, you should rest too. Don't overwork yourself. I patted her shoulder, like dusting off a golden treasure for the company. Grinning warmly, keep it up, and I'll give you a raise. Lucy's eyes teared up with gratitude. Oh, Howard, with your words, I'd do anything for the company. May I treat you to dinner tonight? Just as I was about to agree, my phone buzzed. Nina sent a voice message. Howard, I want those 2 songs, Nina sounding cold, as though still harboring resentment. She attached the very songs Lucy wrote. I replied patiently, those songs are for Lucy's album. A moment later, Nina sent a question mark. I almost replied with a question mark myself, but held back. She blocked me. Staring at the red exclamation mark on my phone, I remembered how she treated me like her lackey. I told my assistant, revoke all of Nina's special privileges. Same treatment as all the other artists. The mightier they are, the harder they fall. At the restaurant, I courteously pulled out a chair for Lucy. Her face flushed red. Thank you, Howard. No problem, I said, letting Lucy order. As I was about to pay, she stopped me. "Howard, you're the best boss I've ever had. Please let me treat you." Lucy shared her previous terrible work experiences of bullying and dirty offers, causing her to hop between several jobs. She was considering this as her last chance or facing her parents' decisions back home. Lucy added, "Every bad experience led me to you, and it feels worth it." I listened intently, gauging her sincerity. Then behind me, I heard glass shattering. "Howard, what are you doing?" Nina stood far, looking shaken, eyes reddened. "You two are secretly together, aren't you? That's why you chose her. I should have known you're just like those disgusting men." "Nina, nothing's happening here. This is just a regular restaurant. Can you stop assuming the worst of people?" But before I could finish, Lucy slammed the table. "Howard is handsome, young, and charming. Even if I want it, it's up to him." Lucy's words surprised me so much I almost spit out my drink. Nina ignored her, staring at me with sheer frustration. "Howard, you never used to be like this. I used to keep my distance with women, never agreeing to personal invites or any touching. Friends laughed, calling me an old-fashioned guy. But I just didn't want Nina to overthink things. Yet Nina viewed it all as a given, assuming I had no other options or charm. Still, she didn't have a right to say this now. "Nina, what's it to you?" Lucy glanced at the middle-aged man with Nina. "Aren't you here with someone else?" Talk about bad taste. "I was just making things clear about not joining him." Nina shot Lucy a death glare. "Howard, are you just going to let her insult me? Aren't you afraid I'll stop talking to you?" Amid her hopeful gaze, I went back to my meal. Finally, I slowly replied, "Nina, remember to follow the HR breach process if you want to leave. The penalty for breaking an A-list artist contract is at least tenfold." The thought of Nina leaving and having to pay me made my appetite grow. The middle-aged man with Nina was named John, a manager from an entertainment company. I'd seen him at a party before. Hadn't expected he'd be part of the team trying to poach Nina. Once John saw how I reacted to Nina, his enthusiasm faded. He gave me an awkward, ingratiating smile and said, "Howard, let's set up a dinner sometime." Then, without even a glance at Nina, he left in a hurry. "Howard, are you still mad at me?" Nina finally sensed something was wrong, her voice trembling. "Howard, do you really believe what she said? I've been waiting for your message every day. I've been trying to make peace, sending voice messages asking for songs. But you still got mad at me." She explained how she coincidentally met John at her part-time job and rejected his offer to join his company. Tears streamed down her face like a broken string of pearls, heart-breakingly beautiful. More people gathered around. Some even started taking photos. Nina, who once cared so much about appearances and wouldn't even let us be seen in public together, seemed unfazed now, just gazing at me intensely. I finally spoke up, "Nina, you don't think I can see through this, do you? I'm done being your doormat. I'm giving you the freedom you wanted." I was willing to take back everything I gave her and let her achieve her dream through her own efforts, which I thought was quite generous. But if she pushed her luck, I wouldn't be so kind. "My identity? Aren't I your girlfriend?" Nina asked, struggling to keep her footing. "Didn't you promise you'd love and protect me forever? Why did everything change this time?" She let out a bitter laugh. "Howard, is lying to yourself really that fun? I don't believe you don't love me anymore. When I make it on my own, you'll regret this." Then she turned and ran off again, and I sensed something was off. Could she have also been reborn? What about David? Could he be back too? I hid my expression, but if we're all back, it means I can settle those scores from the previous life. Nina didn't terminate our contract. In the following days, she worked hard on the appearances the company arranged for her, hoping to prove she could succeed without me. Nina had always been proud and didn't like networking. I'd always respected that, handling business meetings and negotiations for her. Many collaborators welcomed me personally, and I'd smooth things over with money if necessary. She'd gotten used to having things handed to her. After her rebirth, she thought she could use her experience to gain better opportunities. But in reality, she struggled more than some adaptable new artists at the company. Without my support, she couldn't land any decent deals despite her talent. After punching a director who tried to get handsy, Nina could only accept minor show gigs for exposure. She realized just how important my behind-the-scenes support had been in her past life, but still believed she could achieve her fame alone, albeit a few years later. Despite her jealousy over how Lucy was treated, Nina couldn't see me whenever she pleased anymore and questioned my assistant if I was sabotaging her. My assistant reassured her that she was still getting good treatment since she at least had exposure opportunities, something many newcomers didn't get. Nina tried picking songs but couldn't access anything above C-list due to her status and lack of connections, resulting in songs that fizzled out. Reality eventually humbled her. She didn't hold her nose high anymore and accepted small ads she previously ignored, finally taking the typical newbie path. Nina still thought I'd eventually lower myself and apologize. She couldn't comprehend why I'd changed so much, or maybe didn't want to admit I wasn't her pushover anymore. Because of this, she never sought me out until a few months later. Lucy had written over 10 songs, and her solo album was on the agenda. At a meeting, I announced Lucy's album as the company's quarterly focus, which finally pushed Nina to her limit. That day, after parking my car and locking the door, as I was about to press the fingerprint scanner to go inside, I noticed a fragile figure sitting desolately by my door. Nina. She was dressed in a white dress that showed off her figure and legs, with long hair cascading to her waist. Her delicate face was full of vulnerability as she hugged her knees, blowing into her palms for warmth. She'd clearly been waiting a while. When she saw me, her eyes lit up instantly, and she scrambled to stand. Due to low blood sugar, she wavered a bit, her lips parted slightly. Though frail, she seemed more enticing. "Howard, you're back." Nina shivered. "I'm so cold. Hold me." She rushed toward me, ready to collapse into my arms, but I lifted my hand to stop her. "Nina, behave." Her hair slightly disheveled. Nina clutched my shirt, tears of grievance falling. "Howard, with you I never had to socialize or drink. I almost crippled a guy who tried to touch me. Now I realize how well you protected me. Without your protection, they all bully me. Howard, I admit I was wrong. Can you stop this, please?" Standing before her tearful eyes, I remained silent. Sneered. "Nina, looks like you still don't get it. Right now you're just an artist at my company. To be blunt, you're just an unfinished product." I lifted her chin, a smirk on my face. "Nina, if you want me to exploit you, don't pretend to be noble. Don't disgust me." Nina stared at me, searching for the old Howard who used to cherish her. Seeing my genuine expression, her eyes filled with tears. "Howard, when did you become so harsh? How can you talk to me like this? Do you see me that way? If it wasn't you, I wouldn't do this. If you don't want people to see you as cheap, then stop doing things like waiting scantily outside someone's door." I released her and tried to walk inside, but she grabbed me. "Howard, I know you're still mad. I'm really sorry, you can't leave me." Nina anxiously clung to me from behind, looking desperate. "Howard, you know me. I just didn't believe any man could truly care for me without expecting something in return. I got engaged to David just to test your feelings for me. I know I've been selfish, but didn't you spoil me into being this way? I called off the engagement to find you, but you disappeared. Don't you remember? I told you about my abusive dad, my stepdad nearly assaulting me, and my brother trying to sell me. Since I was young, I've never been able to trust men. What could I do?" I could feel her tears soaking my collar, and I almost laughed. The despair Nina gave me back then was over these ridiculous reasons. Thankfully, my romantic side died long ago. I coldly pried her hands away. "It's because I used to love you that I endlessly tolerated you, knowing about your issues. But Nina, you've long worn out my love for you. Nina, don't you know? The Howard who loved you died of stomach cancer." Upon saying this, I saw Nina's face go blank for the first time, as if her soul had left her body. She didn't believe it, said I was joking, assuming I looked down on her because she wasn't famous right now. She thought the Howard who would always wait for her no matter how much she hurt him couldn't have died. She claimed she'd be more famous in this life and I'd regret it. Nina's fame didn't matter to me, but my old foe David contacted me first. "Let Nina go." David's familiar voice came from the other end of the line. "Howard, name your price. Consider it compensation for a defeated rival. Of course, he was also reincarnated. How could I not take advantage? 30 times the penalty fee. Nina's yours. I provoked David. Stop pretending. Howard, do you think throwing out a big number will scare me? I'm not like you, a nouveau riche. That amount is nothing to me. All right, pay up in one go and take her away. David, always proud, would never back down in front of me. In my past life, trying to leave a good impression around Nina meant swallowing the bitter fruit when dealing with rivals. Fine. Keep your word and don't bother Nina again. David snorted coldly and hung up. He'd likely let Nina hear the recording, thinking I'd backtrack. He didn't even haggle. I called Lucy over, planning the album release on the day Nina leaves, and asked what she wanted to name it. Lucy looked at me with a bright smile. Gift. I feel meeting Howard is a gift for me. I agreed, thinking the name was perfect. On the day Nina left, the company released Lucy's debut album, Gift, across platforms. It featured Lucy's original songs, including 2 hits that made Nina a sensation in my past life. This time, I let Lucy use them as the lead singles. As expected, the moment they released, along with a massive promotional blitz funded by David, the album went viral. Lucy, with her striking appearance, quickly skyrocketed in popularity and booked endorsement deals nonstop, hailed as the next diva. But I didn't expect Lucy to include 2 more songs in her album, one praising the company, another praising her boss, me. These creative songs also climbed the charts, giving the company massive publicity. Newcomers flocked to join us. Howard, I'll write more great songs for the company and make more money. Lucy, now famous, nervously clasped her hands, looking up at me. You wouldn't fire me, right? Amused, I replied, you're the company's cash cow. Why would I fire you? Deal. Howard, let's renew the contract. After I said this, Lucy, as if prepared, pulled out a renewal contract from her purse, putting it on my desk. It said she voluntarily agreed to a 20-year contract, only asking not to be let go. I slowly raised an eyebrow. Lucy, still young, wore her heart on her sleeve. Her clear eyes reflected admiration and fondness for me, tiptoeing around cautiously. She might have known Nina was sent away and feared I might do the same to her. I didn't sign, just promising her, you're not like Nina. I won't treat you that way. But these words were overheard by Nina, who came to pack up today, and David, who accompanied her. Nina had lost weight, looking like a gust of wind could sweep her away, a stark contrast to the bold and cold superstar she was in the past. Nina wobbled a bit, almost fell over, but David caught her. Howard, she said, turns out you're the cruel one. She shook off David, looking at me and Lucy, her voice barely audible. I hate you. I'll never forgive you. David shot me an angry glare. Nina is mine now. I'll make her a bigger star. I bankrupted you once, and I can do it again. Just wait and see. Then he rushed off to follow Nina. I couldn't take it anymore. My next song's gonna be a diss track about them. Lucy flipped them off as they walked away, rolling her eyes. So ordinary yet so confident. Respect, but yeesh. I nodded in agreement. David was always so full of himself. He bought back his spy stationed at my side for 30 times the penalty fee. Does he really think he can get lucky like last time? After Nina signed with David's entertainment company, he went all out promoting her. But he was too busy expanding to micromanage, so Nina had to entertain by herself. One time, an executive forced drinks on her until she was unconscious. Almost took advantage, if not for her agent who sensed something and burst in. David was furious when he found out, retaliating like mad in business until the executive personally apologized to Nina. Because of this incident, Nina was seen as David's beloved, untouchable little girlfriend. I got a random call that night, but I didn't answer. Then a text followed. Howard, what's the use of feeling guilty now? I almost suffered. When I was with you, they never had the chance to bully me. You cared about my dignity even if it meant people thought you were an infatuated fool. David protects me openly, making me look like just a fling. Now I see who's really got my back. But am I too late? I sat there for a moment, then blocked the number. Nina wanted to launch a solo career like before, prove herself against Lucy. But despite a big production album, she barely had 100 listeners online, so different from her past success. David knew how to spend money but had no idea about planning. He didn't understand what songs matched Nina's style, didn't know which producers to choose, or how to market her strengths. Back then, I did everything for her, painstakingly planned each detail to smooth her path to fame. David couldn't understand why Nina was a hit before but a flop now. He couldn't admit he was worse than me, so he hyped Nina while using bots to bash Lucy. Nina used to cherish her image, always resisting hype, beloved as a chaste national goddess. But under David's care, she took on tacky drama roles and joined reality shows, trading privacy for fame, becoming a provocative sensation. She had tons of buzz but was no different than the stars she once despised for relying on scandals. Nina grew increasingly miserable. My junk mail filled with unknown numbers sharing heartache, but I never read them. Let the system filter them automatically. On the other hand, I never let Lucy get mixed up in nonsense gigs. Just had her focus on music. Her career soared. She debuted a year ago and soon became a deserved judge on music shows. I handled all the trolling against her, suing where necessary. Lucy was really grateful, secretly writing 3 songs full of praise for me. As Lucy's star rose and Nina's stayed stagnant, David tried his old tricks. He secretly approached Lucy, promised triple her pay, and offered to buy out her contract. All she had to do was leak info when needed. Lucy agreed. Then she dumped all David's files and contracts on my desk, grinning, "Howard, let's cash in again." Lucy knew her album expenses came from David's breach penalties. To her, David was a fool with money. Instead of rejecting his advances, she decided to aid our funds. So I had Lucy occasionally send David some harmless but true info. Once David trusted her completely, we fed him false info on critical projects. David took a major hit and raged. He paid big to dig up dirt on Lucy, hiring PIs to snap her at high-class events with older men. David quickly bought the scandalous story to the top trending spots, smugly sending me the photos to rub it in. The rumors of Lucy being a sugar baby spread fast. While I was crafting a PR strategy, Lucy rushed in, scared. "Howard, you won't fire me, right?" Concerned more about her job than her reputation. I laughed and said, "Just focus on your music. I'll handle this." With teary eyes, Lucy asked, "Aren't you going to ask for my side?" "I know who you are. I trust you," I replied. "I've been in this industry long enough to size people up." Lucy's honest gaze and blushing when I got close said it all. She had no experience in love. Lucy teared up more, choking out, "Howard, I'll stick with you for life. I can't keep hiding behind you. No need for you to handle this. I'll deal with it myself." When Lucy says she'll do something, she means it. Quick and decisive. In just one afternoon, we saw the rarely seen richest man make a statement on social media to clear things up, and sent legal letters to those spreading lies. Shockingly, the top pop star Lucy turned out to be a super rich kid. Lucy's the daughter of the wealthiest person. After seeing the trending topics, I, as her boss, finally realized that Lucy was, in fact, a top-tier heiress. Rebellious, she didn't want to rely on her family, so she struck out on her own. If she failed, she'd return home to inherit the family fortune. So, in a previous life, Lucy's talent disappeared. Because I, afflicted by love's folly, let her go, making her return home. "Howard, will you fire me?" Lucy was nervous after I learned about her identity. Her eyes were pleading, like she'd cry on the spot if I nodded. I sighed, "Of course not, Mississippi. I knew it. Howard, you're the best." Lucy threw herself at me for a hug, and then quickly ran out the door. I could even spot her flushed earlobes. David's tricks failed again, and he got himself into trouble with Lucy. He made up for it with a lot of personal assets. In every clash with me, he was practically handing me money at each step. Before he knew it, his entertainment company's cash flow was drained. He realized he'd never beat me in major entertainment projects again. His only hope rested on Nina becoming as popular as she once was. David went ahead to prepare Nina's second album, hoping for a comeback. But David knew only how to stir up hype, and faux popularity vanishes as quickly as it arrives. Once Nina's buzz died out, she was forgotten again. She got a permanent label as a publicity stunt artist impossible to shake. Good opportunities never came her way. Producing an album costs a ton, and the funds David poured into Nina went down the drain. Without Nina leaking my company's info, David's attempts to fight back were feeble, and his company dwindled to a second-rate entertainment firm. As his shareholders eventually voted him out as CEO during a meeting, replacing him with Ken, a relation's son. Ken knew how to assess the situation. He always greeted me with a bright smile and unfailing respect, never daring to offend me. He gradually built his power within the company. David completely lost his heir status. The string of failures eventually broke him. He deemed Nina the main culprit, not only publicly smearing her online, but also frequently coming to the office to hit and verbally abuse her. People treated it like a joke, sharing the videos online, giving Nina a bit of attention. Nina ended up hating David more though. She believed if David hadn't contacted me back then, she'd still be an artist at my company, with a chance to reconcile with me. After months of harsh survival in the popularity-chasing entertainment world, Nina clearly understood how much she regretted leaving me, and how laughable her claim to make it without me was. She tried reaching out to me, but without my permission, she didn't even know how to find me. Every text she sent was blocked and filtered, never getting a reply. Nina often dreamt of the past when I adored her, but the reality upon waking was her unfulfilled fame. In the company, as David's rumored lover, she faced a lot of exclusion, and Ken would never promote her. Her pride was nurtured by my indulgence. When I withdrew that indulgence, it smoothed her edges. For survival, she ended up live streaming and selling products. She wasn't the untainted girl from back then, cherished with every stumble. Eventually, Nina learned the ways of the dog-eat-dog world too late, left with only her remaining life to reminisce. Occasionally, after a busy day, Nina would look up to see Lucy's advertisements on displays, and interviews where I, as an entertainment mogul, was featured. Recalling my affection in a past life, she couldn't help but break down in tears on the street, heartbroken. The Howard who loved me, the best man in the world, I lost him. Years later, after Lucy stepped onto the stage for her annual album award, her first words were, "I owe it all to Howard from our company. Without him, I wouldn't be here today." Hailed as a brilliant producer and talented singer, Lucy was eccentric, but from a prestigious background. Each time she received an award, she'd mention me with starry eyes, like an innocent teen. And that was just the beginning. I went on to nurture star after star. When they received their awards, they'd invariably thank me first. In time, my entertainment company gained global influence, eventually becoming the world's leader. I built my entertainment empire. Finally, as the group's chairman, I married Lucy in a powerful alliance, becoming the youngest world's richest person ever. The memory of dying alone in a hospital bed in a previous life had faded, leaving me with only a future filled with light, legend, and endless surprises.